Hello everyone, welcome back to Walk With Me Gaming. Today we are going to be exploring a library. So this is Library of Babel. If you are unaware, I'm not sure the exact lore of this, but just to go, I guess the concept initially probably comes from the concept of Babel being like the tower that they were trying to build to heaven, essentially to the world of God or gods or whatever. And this is kind of a play on that. So the concept is that this is a library of essentially infinite books, or as infinite as you can get with such a high number. But each room in the library has 4 walls of books, multiple lines of books, and then essentially every single book has a combination of letters. It is lowercase letters, spaces, periods, and commas. And the idea is that the library is full of every single combination of these. So basically, and I think the pages, it's like 410 pages per book or something along those lines. So every single page of these is covered in a randomized collection of these letters. So you look at this and it's a complete utter nonsense. It's a complete nonsense. But there are times where you look and go, well, so this line just happened to have a lot of spaces in that one section. Some of these there will be lots of punctuation all lined up with each other. Other times it'll be the same letter repeated over and over. So this is discussed by another video maker on YouTube, Jacob Geller. He does more analysis videos, which I would love to do more of. I just haven't worked up the courage to do so yet. But he discusses this further. But this is essentially the concept of infinity, or as close to infinity as our minds can comprehend. Because this is essentially, well, there was a person there. This is essentially like our minds could not comprehend this level of stuff. Because it's just continuous. There's so much of it. And you can just go up to a book, and I would love for us to find something actually like interesting in here, but there's a good chance we won't, because every single book can just be these assortments. Like you just see, like right here, the most interesting thing I can find on this page is that there's www dot, and that's it. And that's like I've played for a few minutes before I started this, but just to search a few books to see, could I even find a word that was real? And that's one of the crazy things, is that there's a good chance you won't, because of the millions and billions and etc. combinations. It's gonna be really hard to find any combination of letters that actually makes sense. But at the same time, the idea that this is essentially an infinite library, that eventually you will find a book that not only would have a word, you could have a book who, just by random chance, the book would have entire sentences, entire pages, entire stories. Because it comes down to the concept that, like, you are in this place where literally every piece of written everything is here. Every speech written by a politician, every manuscript, every film production script, every note taken about a film production script. Like, it is everything. And I love the just insane feeling that gives you, that this idea of this continuous madness in here, of all of these having potentially endless limits of wisdom and information, that these could have written scripts of you know like telling your future, but you wouldn't know it, because there's also a book that could tell a completely different story. You could also find a book that is nothing but the letter E over and over and over again. You could find a book that has nothing but gibberish, and then in the middle, the literal center of the book, there's like one line of it saying like I can't believe you found this. And that would blow your mind, because if you saw that, you'd go like, oh my god, this is speaking to me. And when really it's just, this is that combination, which I think really gives a like the idea of it, just it really makes you think about everything, the concept of everything, because it is this endlessness. And I think seeing something like this just makes me laugh, but also makes me like excited, because it gives a sense of when reality is so overwhelming that it seems impossible. Because I think for a lot of people who look to a more realistic sense of the world, like that, don't have like religious beliefs and just believe what they see, like, look at that, like 3 X's in a row. Like, the fact that you could get that seems like impossible, but yet with every strange combination, everything in here is possible. Like, it's like that. And so like for people like this who would read this from that perspective and go, well, everything is random, it's totally possible. But yet people who might have more like religious beliefs or see a higher power could find a book and say, well, look, this is clearly proof that there's a God or something communicating with me, because this is a written thing. These are words that I understand and that I can tell you. And it's just all up for that interpretation. And like, all this is gibberish, but at the same time, like, for all we know, they're like, maybe one day someone will create a word that is spelled like this: ZVOQZQJ. How would you pronounce it? I don't know, but maybe one day that would be a thing, or maybe that would be an abbreviation for something. We don't know. And that's what makes this whole thing so complicated and impressive, because it's nonsense. It's absolutely nothing, and yet it is everything. Hey, it actually stayed in place. Hi there. It's all just gibberish. It sure is. It sure is. What, you haven't found a good one yet? I feel like I'm just gonna keep playing this until I find like a word. Gints. That's close. That's close. I don't know what that is, but maybe that's a real word somewhere. At least that's like ordered in a way that like a word would be written. So I don't know. I feel like everything I look at, I just see Y's and X's, and I'm just like, I think partially because there's so few use of Y's and X's in like written English that you kind of forget about it, and then you see it like this, and it's like, well, of course it's looped. It has the same chance of appearing as every other letter. What a overwhelming concept. I just love this. I love the thought of this infinity. And I think this makes me think of, and I'm sure everyone's had these kind of thoughts. These are the kind of thoughts that like you just, like when you're just like doing nothing or doing something repetitive. Like I think of stuff like this while I'm driving a forklift, because it's like, well, I know what I'm doing. But just my brain will wander onto random thoughts like this. And like the idea of like when people discuss the potential of infinite universes, like parallel universes of, complete differences, of the idea of like there could be a universe where everything is different, where people are dogs, or like the human race doesn't exist and there's a different race on a different planet that's similar to us or something like that. Or there could also be a parallel universe where literally the only difference is that someone flips a coin and it lands on tails, and then in the other universe it lands on heads. And that could be the only difference in the entire universe. And I think that's the kind of smallness that is exhausting to think of in terms of the concept of infinity. Because when I look at this complete jumble of letters, there's also means that there is a book in here where this exact jumble of letters is exactly the same, but this W is a D. And that's it. Wads. Does that count as a word? I think it does. I'd love to find like a really weird thing like almond or headphones or God, can you imagine finding like bicycle? That would be great. Just absolute madness in every sense. Like that, and I love the lore to this concept of like people will spend their lives in this library, and when they die, you are tossed over the rail into the infinite void because these books will continue on infinitely, and you'll just plummet forever. And oh, did I find the end? Oh, it hadn't loaded. It got it confused itself for a moment. Yeah, but I mean that's how this, like, obviously this is a game, so like it's just infinitely loading, and I don't know if these books are actually different, like, but I'm pretty sure each section it is supposed to be something different, but and I'm sure there's a randomizer program that can do that, but it's just a weird thought to have. And I wanted to play this specifically after Undertale, because Undertale is such a game. Like, I know that sounds weird, but like I kind of started this channel to do walking simulators and experimental games, and while Undertale was an experiment in itself in terms of like playing differently than a lot of other games do nowadays, I wanted to have something that's just completely off the wall, and this is about as far off the wall as you can get. Ooh. Thought I saw something. Mo, what are you doing? My cat's being dumb. I thought I saw an actual word, and I've lost it forever. But I just like this to unwind in terms of like this, and this is the kind of thing that like I could totally just find myself wandering in this. Like, this is the kind of thing where if this was real, this would be dangerous to me, because I would want to actually just explore. I'd want to find that one book with something written in it, something of any significance. Like, let's just see what page 200 has. Just nothing. It's still the same, and yet it's completely different. I feel like this is the kind of discussion that is either going to be interpreted as like, oh my god, this is mind-blowing, or you're going to go, why would anyone waste their time on this? I feel like with the combination of like the periods and stuff, I feel like there's got to be I mean, obviously there is a page somewhere, but just like it'd be funny to come across a page that just says, P.S. I love you. Just perfectly written. And you know it's in there. It's in here somewhere. But where? In this infinite collection? Who knows? Like, there could be an entire written, that like one book could just be all of Stephen King's The Green Mile, and then there could be an entire Stephen King's The Green Mile, but with the main character named something different, or with it being a cat instead of a mouse in terms of the pet that he finds. Like, it's just infinite. This makes me smile. This makes me happy. Like, I was gonna play this as like kind of a wrap up for the day, but honestly, this is like getting me excited to play more games because now I want to. Because the prospect of this just gives me hope to do things. Because I look at this and go like, someone made this. Someone created this game to demonstrate the concept of this, and I love that they did, because to so many people this would feel like such a waste, and honestly probably a lot of you are thinking the same thing, that this is a total waste. But I wish more people would contemplate infinity, because I think it would give you a better sense of the world, not just because you would understand things more, but because it would make people think about, I don't know, like both their own significance and insignificance. I think that's important to think about, because we are here, depending on how you look at things, we are here for a limited time, and when we die, that is it, and that's it, and that seems pointless. But also, does that mean that a fly who lives for 24 hours is pointless? Is that life useless, or is that more important than ours, or less? Who knows? Um, I certainly don't. Um, but I just want people to think about ideas like that. And this is also why I wanted to play a game like this, because when I play things like Undertale, I'm focused on the gameplay, and I can't get in-depth philosophical like this. And for that, I like doing this. So, well, I think that is it for our exploration for today. So I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into the void. And now we're back. All right. Well, I thought that it would reset. I wasn't 100% sure, but yeah, just the whole lore of this. I love the idea of like people going through the books like one by one, and if they can't find anything, they throw the book into the void because they find it to be useless. But also, like I said, that could be a combination that means something one day or in some other way. But who knows? So now that we've seen about as much as my brain can take, I think it's time to wrap up. So thank you all for watching this. I mean, legit thank you for watching this specifically, because this is such a weird one, and I want to do more weird ones. I know that there's always more views for a popular thing, but Jacob Geller gets lots of views, and he makes things about this stuff, although his is more of an analysis, so it's really not. It's a little more well written, and you should definitely check out his stuff. I'll link to his video on here too, because I think he discusses this in a much more significant way. But I just find this to be impressive, and I do thank you for watching and listening and just thinking. Think for yourself what this could potentially mean to you, and what the world as a whole means to you. Because we all need to stop and think a little bit sometimes. So. But if you want to have something a little less philosophical, you can check out my other videos. And if you want more, please leave a comment on this, because I'd love to do more experiments like this. I love the concept of what a game can be. And I think this is a great example of what we can push with telling it, not just a story, but telling an idea. And this is an idea. So I wish I could find a word to finish on, but I don't think we're gonna go. I don't think we're gonna get anything in these. So my final word will be nothing. I've got nothing. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hi. That'll do.